Hello. I am Joshua Lisec, the Ghostwriter, and I am here to talk today with Dr. Philip Ovadia, author of Stay Off My Operating Table. Still a #1 bestseller in several Amazon categories after about 6 weeks of release. I had the thrill of being Dr. Ovadia's writing partner and editor on this book, and kind of the project manager from, hey, I want to write a book, all the way through the hardcover, the softcover, the audiobook, and the spin-off course being produced. So we're here to talk today with Dr. Ovadia about the journey from, hey, I want to write a book, to my book has sold thousands of copies in 6 weeks. Dr. Ovadia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joshua. Good to be here with you, and thank you for guiding me through that process.
It was my pleasure. I have a question to start us off today for you, and that question is, why did you want to write a book?
Well, my message is basically that people can be healthy and should expect to be healthy. And, if anyone has read the book, they know, but for those that haven't, my background is that I am a heart surgeon, and I have become increasingly frustrated by the lack of preventative efforts within the healthcare system. And I think the kind of mainstream messaging that people get around health is that we can manage whatever health problems you develop, but there isn't a whole lot that we can do to prevent health problems in the first place. And as a heart surgeon, what I've come to realize after now doing, thousands and thousands of heart surgeries is that almost all of them were a failure of the medical system, and that we need to be doing a better job at preventing these problems from developing in the first place. And I want to educate people how best to stay off my operating table.
Excellent. So you've done all these heart surgeries. You have a telehealth practice where you take on private clients as kind of a concierge medicine. Since you're able to help individuals like one-on-one that way, I'm curious why specifically a book felt like the right way to get your message out there to the masses. I may have just answered my own question there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. My time is limited, and I can only work with so many people one-on-one. There are, geographic constraints and time and finances and all of that, limit how many people I can work with one-on-one. And this message needs to get out to the masses, as you said. And I thought the book would be a great vehicle to do that.
Absolutely. Now you mentioned that you have limited time, and that's why it probably made sense to work with a writing partner and a publishing team, so that all this work was being done, and you were able to spend a little bit of time each week, meeting with me and going over the chapter structure and idea and stories. And so it's all your stories, all your experiences, all your insights, except you didn't have to do a lot of the work on the project then.
Exactly. As a busy heart surgeon running a telemedicine practice with a few other interests, and then, of course, personal life, my family, the time to write a book always was the barrier. This is an idea, that I've been kicking around for quite a while now. But as I said, just the daunting time involved kind of kept me from doing it. And, after our initial conversation about how you can, make that process streamlined and make it easy on someone like myself, I immediately recognized the value of that. People come to me because I'm an expert in heart surgery, and I'm an expert in metabolic health and preventing people from needing heart surgery. And, you can pretty much get all the information, that I, use with my clients, or, even that's in my book from, many different sources. And I spent many years, kind of curating that information and pulling out the good information and finding what works and doesn't work. So, I view my role as making that process easier on the people that I work with. And I think, what you do for the book writing process is very similar.
Absolutely. Now, one of the first steps of our process is to differentiate your book, your message from others, because there are other books that are about heart health, tens of thousands, in fact, about heart health, about nutrition, even about the low carb, keto space that's there. One of the first things we did is look at the reviews on the best-selling low carb, keto, and metabolic health books. And that really gave us the plan for what your book needed to include. That made it different from others. And one of the things that we found is a lot of the other low carb books, they get negative reviews, critical reviews, because they say this is the only way to eat food, and if you eat differently, you're a bad person. So rather than mimic anything like that, you went the opposite direction and offered readers an inclusive message. And so you say, here are the different ways that you can do Mediterranean and gluten-free and low carb and carnivore and even a vegan or vegetarian, and eat in a metabolically healthy way, which is unique among books in this space. And the other thing that you did was include just enough citations to peer-reviewed papers and other sources, studies and whatnot, research, to back up your claims without making it a textbook. So it's very easy to read, very easy to read. And to give people a sense of just how easy it is, like this is not an academic textbook, something like this. You are in charge of your health, your metabolism, your diet and fitness, your lifespan, and the quality of life you experience for however long yours lasts. That means your health is not the government's responsibility, not food manufacturers, farmers, or ranchers. Very easy to read. There was no such and such person, such and such textbook study, such and such sophisticated keyword. It's that easy to read. And so that is a couple of things that we found from negative feedback on other books that you wanted to do differently. Would you say that that has had some effect, or even a major effect, on the commercial success of the book so far?
Yeah, certainly. That's one of the main pieces of feedback that I get from people, is that it's an easy book to digest, but it has, a lot of important information in it. And I think, many of books that are written on this topic end up, kind of being out of reach of a lot of people, because they do get very deep into the science. And again, I view my role as a physician when I'm working with people one-on-one is to, educate them so that they can make the choices that are going to be best for them. And, choice options, I think, is another key thing that you mentioned, because there are plenty of books out there that are written specifically towards one diet or the other. But the bottom line is no diet is going to work if you're not able to, make it sustainable. And that's one of the key principles, we talk about in the book is, being able to make this a sustainable life change, not just a short-term diet. And so giving all these different options, because realistically, I do work with patients who, use all of these different dietary strategies and they're successful. And that is ultimately what's important, is that you find a sustainable lifestyle change that works for you.
Awesome. This book does quite a bit. It does quite a bit, but there are still things that it cannot do. And that's where we saw opportunities for, in the case of the course we mentioned at the outset. There are multiple tips and recommendations inside of the book, things that you want to track related to your panels, so to speak, your daily activities, shopping lists, replacing this common staple with that common staple that's metabolically healthy. And we saw an opportunity for an upsell right there with a $99 course. Give readers a coupon inside some versions of the book there that they get. And they can get material inside the book that makes implementing it sustainable. They got these worksheets and these downloads and these trackers and all this cool stuff there. And the book leads people right into that. And then once they get the course, there's a series of automated emails that come to them, one of which is to book a consultation with you to see if they would be right as a private client for you. Have you seen people go from like the book to the course now to booking with you?
Yes, certainly. We've been seeing people come through that progression. And again, I think those options are key, because some people, the book is enough. other people, want those additional tools that are going to be very practical, very useful, and help them actually implement the changes in the book. And then, many people want to have that one-on-one guidance that I provide in my concierge medical practice. And the book, kind of lays the foundation to allow people to figure out, again, what's going to work best for them, what's going to be sustainable for them. And ultimately, my goal is to get as many people as healthy as possible. And however way, whatever way works for them, I hope they're able to find it through the various options that we're offering.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that seems to be like a missed opportunity for a lot of authors, is they just release the book and they try to sell one copy at a time to as many people. Whereas in your case, someone could buy the ebook for $9.99 or the audiobook for $14.99, but they still need help. So then there's a $99 course. You have a membership ongoing community, I think, as well. And then you have your high ticket, high end premium concierge medical services for people who need that. And most, unfortunately, author funnels end with buy the book, and then they're like, I didn't make a whole lot of money from this. Well, there's a lot that's missing off the chain. Now, you have significantly more commercial success from the book than most self-published books. Yours is independently published. We did that together. But even a traditionally published book, they typically average about 400 copies sold in the lifetime of the book, traditionally published, even by Simon & Schuster, Random House, for example. And you've 10x that in a month and a half, and they're still going. Plus the course on top of that you've been selling. What would you say have been some things you've done to market the book, to promote the book, that have frankly brought so many sales in?
Yeah, I think my main promotional efforts have been around getting on podcasts and getting on a diverse mix of podcasts. One of the things that your team was, fabulous at was generating a list of podcasts that would be, good for me to go on. And they were a mix of health podcasts as well as some business podcasts, business-oriented podcasts, because one of the other services I offer is group coaching programs for businesses, where I'll come in and I'll help the employees, as a group, improve their health. And, I ended up, I've probably at this point been on, 40 to 50 podcasts and have ongoing bookings, which I think are a great avenue to be able to promote the book. And then just, over the last couple of years, I've been able to build up a fairly significant, social media following, which helps as well. So there was a lot of pre-release promotion that went on there, and I think that built up anticipation. And then, as with the way that the book sales and Amazon algorithms work, the more you sell, the more it gets promoted kind of by the algorithm, and that itself becomes a self-fulfilling issue. I would say what I'm most proud of, though, is the number of people who write to me after reading the book. And, especially we just got through the holidays, and they say, oh my God, I bought the book as a gift for, my friends, my family. And that really speaks to, how effective, how powerful the book is. And that has been some great feedback to hear.
Excellent, excellent. And here we are at the time of publishing this interview. It's right around the new year of 2021 to 2022. And there's a lot of health wellness books that are coming out here. So I've got one final question for you. Amongst the thousands of books that are from nutrition to fitness to wellness to recipes and cookbooks to low carb to not low carb to all of there's roughly 60,000 books on health and wellness right now. What's the number one thing that edges your book out from all the others?
Yeah, I think ultimately it's my unique perspective on this problem around health. As a heart surgeon, obviously I see it every day. On the personal level, I had my own battle with obesity to overcome, and went through all of I would say all of the typical things that people go through in that, and finally, figured out what worked for me, and then started to see it work for the patients that I work with. And so, combining my personal and professional experience, as well as, what we talked about, the inclusivity of the book, the options that the book gives. It's not the one way, it's not the Dr. Ovadia diet plan. It's learning to focus on your metabolic health and use that as a way to stay off my operating table.
Perfect, perfect. And add one little addendum in there. One of the things that you say that's different from a lot of what physicians say, particularly heart surgeons, is, the conventional wisdom is a high-fat diet causes high cholesterol, which causes heart disease. Each one of those claims that I just parroted there, from your perspective, is either false or misleading. And that's what's so interesting about the book, is the way to prevent heart disease is to avoid mainstream advice about how to avoid heart disease.
Yeah, I think that's a key, fact that we talk about in the book, is that, we've had all this mainstream advice for a long time now, and heart disease remains the #1 killer in the United States and worldwide. And it's time to start thinking differently about that problem, so that we can more effectively prevent people from getting heart disease.
Awesome, awesome. And your book is helping people do that by the thousands. I expect you'll see thousands more copies sold after just the success of the first 6 weeks. Well, Dr. Philip Ovadia, thank you for joining me. For those who are curious about his telehealth medicine practices, as well as his book and the course, you can check that out in the video description below. See all the good stuff. Phil, thanks for joining me today.
Thank
Really
you,
much appreciate
Joshua.
it. You bet, my pleasure.